the very idea of combining a high-performance road car with an SUV was once dismissed as impossible, and the answer to a question that no one had even asked. Yet today, the Macan is Porsche's best-selling car, and buyers, well, they can't get enough of them. So how could the German manufacturer improve this car? Well, give it more power, a sporty looking trim, and call it the GTS. But did those engineers just tart up the base Macan, or have they actually made an already flawless package, even more capable? Well, why not join me, Roger Bailey, to find out. And as we find out more about this newly released Porsche, let's firstly give thanks to that most agreeable car dealership, Porsche Centre Chester. Thanks again for this one, guys. And let me tell you my first impression, which is that this Macan GTS is a proper sport utility vehicle in every sense of those words. It's a practical and luxurious family car, one which traversed the wild countryside while at the same time totally living up to that sport billing. So how does a high-riding car like this with a sporting GTS badge fare out on the open road? Well, on open B roads like these, the Macan GTS does not drive like other luxury SUVs. Once we let it rip on the tarmac, we'll see it as no less than a bona fide high-performance car, and the extra power served up is immediately noticeable. Noticeable too is the lowered air suspension, bolder alloys and sharp detailing, Alcantara and contrast stitching are plenty inside, and it's impossible to miss the rather more vocal exhaust with its growls, pops and bangs to impress both passengers and bystanders. Inside the cabin, the Macan impresses too. The material quality is of the highest order, with every control, switch and button solid and perfectly finished. Pleasing too for me is the absence of a touchscreen for those commonly used controls, and instead I'm happy to report that we have kept a stack of attractive tactile buttons lying either side of the PDK gear selector. It's worth noting here the upcoming Macan facelift will lose these buttons in favour of a touchscreen. So this driving position is typically Porsche, meaning it is totally spot on, with a semi-reclined sports car style that just happens to put you a little bit higher off the ground than a typical saloon. They say GTS models are for people who like to shout louder about their car, and Porsche has thrown a ton of kit at the GTS to ensure it rides, handles and sounds just the way the badge promises. Power comes from a toned-down version of the Macan Turbo's mighty 2.9 litre V6. Here it produces 375 brake horsepower and 384 pound-feet of torque, and while its flat torque curve isn't the usual Porsche high-revving attitude served up by its sports cars, the GTS rather goes like one with a 4.7 second 0 to 60 time and 162 mph top speed, and it'll hit 100 miles an hour in less than 12 seconds, which is all seriously impressive stuff. Some may ask, does an SUV actually need this kind of power, or need to sit this low, rev this keenly, or handle this tautly? Well, no, not really, but that's rather the point of the GTS. It's providing that sports car spirit and soul disguised away inside the family car. And once your journey starts, you'll get to feel the surprise and delight of an SUV being so easily pushed into sports car driving. You'll find enjoyment on a level usually reserved for your guilty secrets. You'll find it super fast in a straight line. However, the Macan's trick is to handle like a B-road pounding sports car. Head for the hills and you'll be in for a treat with all the grip, poise and traction you could ever wish for. Steering is precise, well weighted, gives you masses of feedback and gives you all the confidence you could ever need as a driver. And so will it successfully venture off-road? Well, what do you think? Did you think Porsche would neglect the needs of those who want to spend their weekends traversing and exploring the great outdoors? Of course not. Press the driving mode button, raise the suspension, and the adventures can begin. Okay, there are other off-road cars which have the edge in the most extreme of circumstances, but for 90% of the time, the Macan will grapple rocks and plug mud and stomp across wild trails along with all of the best 4x4s out there. However, it's on the tarmac that the GTS leaves its opposition trailing. Above all else, this is a sporting road car with stunning levels of lateral grip and faultless steering. The surprises keep coming too, as this car will actually power oversteer if you're brave enough to push it that far. There is perhaps a sense that the car is ruthlessly bludgeoning the laws of physics into submission rather than deftly bending them as a lighter car might, but nonetheless, this is a true performance road car. So, is this turbocharged power pack the sweet spot in the range? Well, the base Macan and the Macan S will do most of this, while costing less, and lower models are likely to be more subtle. However, with this new arrival, we now have a choice: the subtle style of the standard Macans, or opt for the more playful and shouty GTS. For me, I'm a GTS kind of person. I love the added spice that's served up here. And let's not forget, GTS residual values hold firmer than the more plentiful lesser models, and all this extra performance kit thrown as a standard makes for a winning argument. And this latest GTS arrival has further affirmed the Macan's prime position as the sport utility vehicle every other manufacturer has to try and catch. It's a fast, high quality, great handling, practical car, while at the same time totally living up to that SUV billing. So could this turbocharged power pack be the right car to buy in today's marketplace? Well, if you happen to be looking for an SUV with all of that implied everyday usability, while at the same time wanting a hugely capable road car with pulverizing performance and eye-swiveling agility, complete with some added flair, if you ask me, you really only have one choice: the remarkable Porsche Macan GTS. So thank you again for watching. If you've liked this video, please give it a thumbs up, and comments are always welcomed. I read every single one and I'll reply to most. And if you haven't already, please think about subscribing, and if you hit this little notification bell, I'll send you another video.